Once, Jesus was asked by the Pharisees when the kingdom of God was coming, and he answered, "The kingdom of God is not coming with things that can be observed, nor will they say, 'Here it is,' or 'There it is.' For in fact, the kingdom of God is among you." There's a star on that "among" usually. We'll talk about it. Then he said to the disciples, "The days are coming when you will long to see the days of the Son of Man, and you will not see it. They will say, 'Look there,' or 'Look here.' Do not go. Do not set off in pursuit. For as the lightning flashes and the lights up the sky from one side to the other, so will the Son of Man be in his day. But first he must endure much suffering and be rejected by this generation. Just as it was in the days of Noah, so too will it be in the days of the Son of Man. They were eating and drinking, marrying and being given in marriage until that day when Noah entered the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise, just as it was in the days of Lot, they were eating and drinking, buying and selling, planting and building. But on that day that Lot left Sodom, it rained fire and sulfur from heaven and destroyed them all. It will be like that on the day that the Son of Man is revealed. On that day, anyone on housetop who has belongings in the house must not come down to take them away. And likewise, anyone in the field must not turn. Remember Lot's wife? Those who try to make their life secure will lose it, but those who lose their life will keep it. I tell you, on that night there will be two in one bed. One will be taken, the other left. There will be two women grinding meal together. One will be taken, and the other left. And then they asked him, "Where, Lord?" And he said to them, "Where the corpse is, there the vultures will gather." I'm sorry, that was that last verse that I had and you didn't. This is the word of the Lord. I remember growing up as a young Christian at the end of the 1980s, beginning of the 1990s. There was a big movement. People were coming around and they would ask, "Are you rapture ready?" You got to be rapture ready. Based on verses like this, and I have two kind of questions about that. One is less interesting, one is more interesting. The less interesting one, as I've grown up and started to study the Bible more, is whether or not the whole rapture concept is even biblical. Verses like this, combined with a couple other verses, and particularly a mistranslation in 1 Thessalonians where it talks about being caught up in the twinkling of an eye. That's where the name rapture comes from, and we get this idea that people are going to fly up into the sky before Jesus returns. And that might be the case. I don't see all the evidence for that, and particularly I don't see it here. Because when it says one will be taken, the other left, it's very clear that being taken is bad, right? Because when you're taken in the flood, that's a bad thing. That means you're not in the in-group. And so Jesus says, when I come, that's my second coming, that's my coming in glory. There are going to be people who are going to be there, who are going to be a part of it, who are going to be left, who are going to stay in the kingdom. And there are people who are going to be taken, killed, destroyed. You don't know the hour of your death, and so you need to be ready for the coming of the Son of Man. You need to be ready to face the Son of Man. But the more interesting question about this pervasive idea, getting rapture ready, is what exactly that looks like. I mean, let's say that I believe you, and I really, really want to get rapture ready. Usually it means take your whole class. Okay, so I'm going to take the 6-week class on the end times and the apocalypse and the signs, right? And then what? Then what happens when Jesus descends? What do I do differently from what I'm going to do now? I mean, I asked someone once, I asked one of the leaders of this kind of study of prophecy and apocalyptic literature, and he said, look up. Well, I can see how that would be less awkward, right? If the sky opens up and I'm ready, as opposed to... But still, I mean, for that one moment of awkwardness, what does readiness look like? And I think we can all ask that, whether we have a premillennialist eschatology or a postmillennialist eschatology or any kind of big word about what we think the end times are going to look like. We can ask the question of what it means to be ready. And we know, even if we can't understand it, that it's important. We know that we have a need deep inside ourselves, deep inside our identities, inside our souls, that craves a period of preparation. And Jesus gave these warnings and these instructions, and he said, I want you to know that something new is happening, and you can get ready. And that's what Advent is about. At the Hanging on the Green service, we are going to be doing a number of things to get our sanctuary ready for Christmas. We're going to be putting little pieces of holly and ivy in this garland up front. We're going to hang a wreath. We're going to put chrismons, ornaments that symbolize the truth of Jesus Christ, onto the trees. And then we're going to light everything up. And we do this not because Christmas won't happen or because we'll miss it if we're not ready, but because we need the process of preparation. It's something that's important to us. We're going to spend the next 3 weeks in Advent, and we're going to spend time getting ready for the Christmas that's not here yet, anticipating the birth of the Christ child, and yet at the same time recognizing that Christ was born a long time ago, and so those same feelings of anticipation, the feelings of anticipation Mary felt as she was pregnant, the feelings of anticipation that the Jews cried out for hundreds of years, match some of our feelings in anticipating the second Advent, the coming of Jesus Christ in glory, and the new kingdom beginning. And so I want to invite you to join me, because our preparation of the congregation is one of the most beautiful liturgical symbols we have in the year to not only get personally ready. I got a new stole. Did you notice it? I got on Amazon. So I have my purple, so I'm personally ready, but to get ready together. Jesus said, the kingdom of God is among you. Some translations say within you. Some would even say inside you. The translation is the same that's used when Jesus talks about washing the inside of a cup and the outside of a cup. The kingdom of heaven is there. But it's not inside you, Mary. It's inside y'all. It's a plural you. So the kingdom of heaven, where is it? In the midst of you. Both inside your individual bodies and in between you, inside the community. So this community is getting ready for Jesus. Let's get ready together.